Let's just say I don't think Dean Phillips is going to resonate with the Democratic Party base.
Dolan, and I also live in Maple Grove.
Yes, sir.
And the day after the election, someone wrote on the Maple Grove High School boys' bathroom the N-word and go back to Africa. And I'm raising a daughter there. And so I want to know what you're going to do about white supremacy. Thank you.
Well, I actually challenge you because I don't think there is white supremacy.
You said in this interview that other people have told you this about Vice President Kamala Harris, that she is not well prepared, doesn't have the right disposition and the right competencies to execute that office. You've actually been around her. Do you agree?
No. In fact, what I said in that report, I hope you just articulated, is that that's what people have told me.
So why repeat what other people have told you if you have firsthand experience?
I did not articulate that distinctly. That was asked of me. Others have said that to the reporter in question.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about the Democrat Party presidential candidate that is challenging Joe Biden for presidency, Dean Phillips, who is pretty irrelevant at this point, okay? He just jumped in the race to challenge Biden because he loves everything about what Biden does. He just thinks Biden's too old. So he's saying, look, I'm just like Biden, right? I'm super establishment, but Biden's too old. Also, not to mention that this guy seems to be not as woke as most Democrats, okay? He said some things in the past that have pissed off the grassroots support that he would need to even challenge Joe Biden, right? There's a reason why Marianne Williamson, at least some polls, is doing better than this guy, is because she's woke. So she has a woke grassroots base of supporters who are backing her, and this guy doesn't, okay? That's how the Democrat primary works, okay? You got to run to the left of Joe Biden in order to get some steam, because if you come out here and say that, hey, well, I'm Joe Biden, that gives the establishment less of a reason to vote for you, okay? I think a lot of people know that Joe Biden's too old, but I think also there's a lot of people that know that Joe Biden's being handled, right? That he's not actually really running the country. But hey, with that being said, he actually put out a statement that I think is very evident and true in regards to how Democrats internally feel about Kamala Harris, okay? They don't really like Kamala. Now, the Democrats will swallow it and they will support Joe, but it seems like when asked about Kamala, it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's Elizabeth Warren or Nancy Pelosi or whoever, right? They don't really seem to be too thrilled with the idea of Kamala taking over for Joe Biden or her being the next up, because I think everybody knows that it's probably going to be Gavin Newsom, okay? And this guy basically just says the quiet part out loud about Kamala Harris, which is that all the Democrats think that she's a terrible VP, and now he's getting ripped for it, right? I mean, he has Democrats now coming out here and pretending to be upset about him saying something that they all say behind closed doors, right? Like this guy right here, Robert Garcia, he says, apparently Dean Phillips is floundering so hard that he's now resorting to attacking Vice President Harris. He better keep the VP's name out of his mouth and apologize. No one would support him, so he's going to torch his entire reputation on the way out. Sad to see. Yeah, so this is just one of many Democrats that are basically upset with these comments that Dean Phillips made, because him saying that, right, basically confirms all the liberal media reports that internally Democrats don't F with Kamala Harris like that. And also on top of that, you have the liberal woke base of the Democrat Party that is accusing this guy of being a racist sexist for criticizing Kamala or for saying that Democrats internally don't like Kamala.
I am a Gen Z black woman, and I refuse to stay silent on Congressman Dean Phillips' recent remarks about Vice President Kamala Harris. His comments are a blatant display of racism and sexism. By claiming that Vice President Harris is not well prepared, doesn't have the right disposition, and lacks the competencies to execute the office, he perpetrates a dangerous and discriminatory narrative against black women. It's infuriating and unacceptable. These kinds of remarks are not just about undermining a highly qualified leader like Vice President Harris. They also send a discouraging message to young black women everywhere. They echo a long history of systemic racism and sexism in our society, suggesting that black women are inherently less capable, which is both false and harmful. We must confront and denounce these outdated and offensive stereotypes. Our leaders should be held to a standard of respect and equality, and their abilities should be judged on merit, not prejudiced assumptions. I am calling out Congressman Phillips directly. Your words are a reflection of a deep-seated bias, and they have no place in our political discourse. We demand better, and you will be held accountable. As a member of Gen Z, I stand with Vice President Harris and all Black women who strive for leadership roles. We are capable, we are competent, and we will not be silenced by outdated, racist, and sexist rhetoric.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. These woke Gen Z revolutionaries, right? They're so militant, okay? But apparently, again, criticizing Kamala Harris or saying that, hey, this is what people say about Kamala Harris behind closed doors is a form of racism, sexism, bigotry, and is harmful, right? I mean, truly amazing stuff. So without further ado, I'm actually going to go ahead and play this interview in which he tries to basically explain his comments about Kamala Harris, and he's basically going to try to do a walkback because he knows that he's pissed everybody off by saying the quiet part out loud about what they all think about Kamala. Take a look.
You, of course, are running for president, so that is definitely your position. I want to ask you about an interview that you recently did that was released today in The Atlantic. You said in this interview that other people have told you this about Vice President Kamala Harris, that she is not well prepared, doesn't have the right disposition and the right competencies to execute that office. You've actually been around her. Do you agree?
No, in fact, what I said in that report, I hope you just articulated, is that that's what people have told me.
So why repeat what other people have told you if you have firsthand experience?
I did not articulate that distinctly. That was asked of me. Others have said that to the reporter in question. What I've said is when I've been around her, I've been impressed. She's been kind, she's been thoughtful and decent. But what I'm trying to explain to Americans, whether it's relative to the president's age or the standing of Vice President Harris amongst Americans, if Democrats wish to beat Donald Trump, Abby, if Democrats want to beat Donald Trump, this is not about protecting people. It's about protecting the principle of democracy. And I'm just saying that Americans are saying, if you look at their approval numbers, Americans are saying they do not want this ticket.
I think the critique.
Yo, I mean, he's keeping it 100. I mean, he's right. Again, look, here's the thing that kind of gets me about Democrats, right? These people claim they believe in democracy so much, but they don't believe in democracy enough to actually have a primary. They claim they're so afraid of Trump winning, okay? But yet their best chance of actually beating Trump is having a primary and getting somebody else elected so that they have another nominee, right? They have a better nominee than Biden, but they don't want to do any of that stuff, right? They rather basically try to, affect the outcome of the election through political persecutions and by censorship in the media and, locking up their political opponents rather than actually, be democratic about the process. But what he's saying is true in regards to how the American people feel about Biden and Kamala. He's saying, look, this is how they feel about Biden and Kamala. We need somebody else. Again, look, here's the thing. I'm happy that the Democrats don't want to run anybody else. I'm happy that they don't want to be very democratic about their own primaries because that gives Trump the best chance to win. But as a political analyst, right, taking my own feelings out of it, I got to say that this dude is exactly right in regard to what he's telling Democrats. Okay, he's telling Democrats the truth, which, hey, again, I'm happy they're not listening, right? I'm very happy if they never listen to this guy, even though he's exactly right in what he's saying.
Critique, though, of this.
I think she's a good person.
The critique of this, your comments in this interview, is that you are saying that this is what other people have told you, but you said those words to the reporter, and people are looking at that and saying you're hiding behind other people to articulate criticisms of the vice president. You were happy to criticize Donald Trump and Netanyahu and even President Biden.
I will.
If you have critiques,
if you do, I'm the one who says the quiet part out loud. I think that's pretty well documented.
I guess the question is why repeat these comments
Abby,
about Vice President?
I do not recall saying those words. I recall those words being shared with me and saying that's what people have been saying. And I'm actually let me defend the Vice President.
You did not say these words.
I don't recall saying those words. Let me say this though. I'm defending the Vice President because I think she's a good person. I think she is well prepared.
Now, I think this is bullshit, right? I think this guy knows that Kamala Harris is not a good person. She's not well prepared. He believes everything that his colleagues believe behind closed doors, right? He believes all that. But see, if he comes out here and says that, if he tells the truth about Kamala, how he really feels, he already knows, based off being in his party, he knows how they operate. he's going to be smeared as a sexist, as a bigot. There will be people on The View, right? The cackling hens on The View will be doing think pieces about how this guy is a racist and a sexist simply for criticizing Kamala Harris, right? We've seen it before, right? Any criticism of Kamala is racism and sexism. But again, apparently the whole Democrat Party is racist and sexist because none of them like Kamala, right? None of them think that she is up next to be the person, right? The leader of the party after Biden is done. And this guy is simply just saying it out loud. He's saying what they all think, and they're getting pissed about it. Because again, the tabloids, the liberal media has been reporting that, yeah, this is how they feel. This guy comes out and says, yeah, this is how they feel. Now they're mad about it because he's confirming that the reports are true. That Kamala is not well liked at all. Like, people feel like she's doing a terrible job, which she is.
But I'm telling you, the country has a different opinion. And that's exactly what I said there. And by the way, I think Joe Biden is a good person. I respect him. The country is saying they do not want him to be the next president. By the way, Democrats are saying that about both of them. That's all I'm pointing out. That's not, by the way, that's not me. Those are polls. And I will defend.
By virtue of your running,
Sure.
Vice President Harris is there on the ticket. Are you tacitly saying that you don't think that she ought to be a successor to President Biden?
I'm not saying, no, you know what I'm saying, actually, and what I've said directly to many, and would actually say to her if she was right next to me, run. The water's warm. We live in democracy. What is everybody so afraid of to actually exercise our democratic muscles?
Well, they don't believe in democracy, right? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, they don't believe in it, okay? They actually really believe in just, again, trying to sway the outcome through the most anti-democratic methods that they can impose. Again, like censorship, okay, locking up political opponents. That's what they actually really believe in, okay? And that's why they don't want to have a primary, because they don't believe in people's rights to choose. They don't believe that the voters are smart enough to make the right choice. But again, the irony here is that if the Democrats actually had a real primary, okay, and they got Joe Biden up out of there, they would have a much better chance of actually winning. Okay, that's the crazy part about it. Okay, they're shooting themselves in the foot because, again, they hate democracy so much.
It doesn't happen on its own. You got to plant seeds, you got to water them, and most of all, you got to participate. I made calls to certain candidates to jump in. They wouldn't do it. I would actually issue a call to Vice President Harris, Governor Newsom, Governor Pritzker,
Have you
Governor
asked
Whitmer.
Vice President Harris to
I've not
run
asked her.
directly?
I've not asked her directly.
But
I
you
made the
would.
public call, and I'll do it. I'll do it publicly right now. To all who believe that we need to do better, who all believe we need change, and who recognize that the polls are saying that President Biden is going to lose to Donald Trump, enter the race, just like I did. The water is warm. Vice President Harris, anybody, Governor Whitmer, Governor Pritzker, Governor Newsom, all the people who are kind of circling like vultures right now, right? Join the race. That's what you do in democracy. And most of all, I can tell you, haven't gone through the nonsense and the misery of actually simply doing what you do in democracy. It's actually joyful. It's amazing. And the country needs us now, not in 2028, because if Donald Trump wins, Abby, there will not be a 2028. So Vice President Harris, yeah. You know what? It's probably hard because you're the vice president right now. But you know what? Jump in.
All right.
Jump in.
Congressman D.
If Trump wins, there will not be another 2020. Even the Democrats that are somewhat in touch with reality are still delusional, right? Again, this guy has a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. Okay, so he's only in the race because he's afraid of Trump winning, right? He's so afraid of Trump winning that he's trying to basically challenge the establishment. He's going to ruin his political career because that's what he's doing by attacking Biden and Kamala Harris like this openly, right? He's going to ruin his political career because he has that level of Trump derangement syndrome, right? It's pretty hilarious to watch what's going on in the Democrat Party. It's so funny because they always want to talk about what's going on in the Republican Party when there's much more drama, right? And fighting and back and forth among Democrats than there are among Republicans. They just don't like to talk about it that much, but it's there, right? It's clearly there. Okay, so hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.